All right, so we're talking about retaining profits in our company. All right, sorry, that was a kind of a side trail. I wanted to bring everybody down, but Sam, you said you had a calculator. So how do you guys obviously handle this, right? That calculator that you were kind of talking about previously. Could you maybe go into that and share that with us? I'm curious to see.
Yeah. Let me pull something up. All right, I got that screen shared. Will, I don't know if you need to add it or.
Yes, I got it up here.
All right, cool. Let me configure my screen so I can see what's going on here. All right, so when we think about profit, it's easy for all of us to just look at the bottom of our profit and loss statement and say, this is what it is. Take that number, divide it by the top line. Oh, that's our net profit percentage. That doesn't tell the full story. Like if you have debt, your debt service is going to be on your balance sheet. So your profit and loss statement might show that you have a net 25% profit, but really you have X amount of debt per month that brings it down to 8% profit. And so you have to have, your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet tell the whole story. But when we break down our numbers, if we have to ask ourselves okay, cool, the bottom line shows our profit, but how can we take it the next step further to pull levers in our business to change that bottom number? And this is what that calculator aims to do. And so there's a few different levers that you can pull. You first have to ask yourself, how do you calculate profit? It's revenue minus expenses. At its core, that's what it is. So you can say, well, I can increase revenue and I can decrease expenses, or I can do both. And that's how you can change your profit. But there's more to it. And so what I like to do is I like to break down. I've been on this journey of doing research on attrition and churn rate, and I've come up with this calculator for it. You need to figure out how long your customers are staying with you, what your net profit percentage is after your debt service, and that's going to get you a few different data points. Ultimately, what we're looking for is what are we profiting per customer. Now you can take this number, and I was talking with Will, I don't know, a few weeks ago about your customer acquisition cost in relation to your lifetime value, your net profit per customer, and you want that to be around a 1 to 5 ratio. And so if we're taking a look at this, if these numbers are all true, I can spend about $100 in customer acquisition cost and feel comfortable doing it because I'm going to get a 5x return on my marketing spend. And so when a lot of people just say, well, I'm going to get an X amount of return on marketing. Well, how do you know that? The only way you can know that is to know exactly what you're profiting per customer. So a few different levers that we can pull is if we're paying attention to this bottom line, let's say our net profit is 15% and our monthly attrition rate is 7%. If we take this and kind of break this down, our customers on average are staying with us for 14.3 months if our monthly attrition rate is 7%. How you get that number is you take 1 divided by your monthly attrition rate. That's going to get you your total months that a customer stays with you. And then you want to multiply that by how much a customer brings in per year, your annual value per customer. Divide that by 12, multiply that by how many months they stay with you. And that's the customer lifetime value. And so you want this number to be high and you want this number to be high so that this number can be high, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you see my mouse or is it just my screen?
No, I can see your mouse. Everything. Yeah.
Cool. So
go ahead. Sorry. Keep going.
Now, so basically the two levers, there's multiple levers you can pull. Like I said, you can increase revenue or you can decrease your expenses or you can do both. Those are the primary levers you can pull. Another lever you can pull is by playing defense and making sure your customers don't leave. And so if we just cut this in half, watch this bottom line, this profit per customer. If we decrease our monthly attrition rate by half, our profit per customer increases by 100%. So a 50% decrease in attrition is a 100% increase in profit.
That's interesting. I like those numbers.
Another lever you can pull is focusing on the first three that we said, revenue and expenses. If you can get a 5% increase on your net profit and take it up to 20%, now that's a 33% increase on your profit per customer.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's I'm probably oversimplifying it, but at the end of the day, you just have to ask yourself, like, what is the metric that I'm trying to calculate and what's the importance of it? It's as
Yeah.
simple as revenue minus expenses equals profit. Well, those are your two levers you can pull. And then you also have to kind of break it down and let's play defense instead of just focusing on revenue and expenses.
Yeah. Did you have any questions on that, Caleb?
No, this is awesome. I wish I had this.
All right. I have a question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
For someone that's looking here, obviously total revenue is pretty easy to pull from their reports. Total recurring customers, easy. Attrition rate, if you have Copilot, it kind of shows you what that percentage is. So that's kind of easy. How are you annual value per customer is easy. How many visits do you have for the year? Times $40 a cut, whatever, right? Gives you that annual. How are you figuring out the lifetime value of the customer? Like, where is that? Because I don't know if I found a fast, or I think it is. I think it does show it on the KPI cockpit in Copilot, but I don't think it's accurate. So how would somebody, whether they're using Copilot or not, figure out what their lifetime value of a customer is?
Yeah. To find your customer lifetime value, you only need 3 different metric points. And it's these first 3. You need to find your total revenue, total reoccurring customers, and your monthly attrition rate. So to get your customer lifetime value, what you do is you take your total revenue divided by how many customers you have. That's going to get you your annual value per customer. And now what we do is we take this number divided by 12. That's going to get our monthly value per customer. And if we have our monthly attrition rate, we do 1 divided by 7% in this example, and that gets us this number. This number is how many months a customer stays with us. And if we know how much value one customer gets us per month and how many months they stay with us, multiply those 2 together, and that gets you your customer lifetime value.
Got it. Okay.
Cool.
That makes sense. That's good stuff, man. I like that calculator.
Yeah, I can send it to you guys if you want.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. All right. Caleb, did you have anything to add to that? Or anything?
Yeah, just pretty much what he said is just lower costs, increase income. That's all I would say. But yeah, there's obviously like different areas you need to focus on. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, and I'll let you maybe go after me, Caleb, to give you a little bit of time of thinking of some ways to kind of increase profit. So that way, maybe just quick snippets, kind of a few small things that I kind of wrote down. Cause me, I always like to come a little bit prepared here. This is the perfect time, I think, for people to simplify services. Like the end of the year when it's slowing down and being like, okay, let me pull a report of the 15 services I offer. And then the ones that are only 1 or 2% of our revenue, we can probably get rid of. You know what I mean? Unless it's a pure profit play where it's for us, aerations is really nice because we make bank off of it. Even though it's only 1 or 2% of our revenue, it's it makes us a ton of money, right? But now is the perfect time for people to do that. That way they can simplify to scale, hopefully in the next year. And then this is also just kind of another reassurance for people during the spring rush to be focusing on recurring revenue. Because if you have recurring revenue and you focused on that all year, this is now the time where the recurring revenue starts to make you more money. Our mows that we go to these days do not take us the full budgeted time. We're in and out. Grass hasn't grown that much. We're going to winter services. That's all recurring revenue. So it's you sell the customer once, and then for as long as you have them through the winter and the off season and stuff like that, helps obviously retain that profit. So you're not having to go and sell, a lot of one-time jobs. And then this kind of contradicts. Well, and then, all right, so I have 2 last things. So the first thing is you could expand revenue per client. I know Sam is, you guys are doing Christmas lights this year, right? For the first time. So
Second time.
Oh, second time. Okay. So that would be absolutely adding an additional service. So that way you can get a better lifetime value from that customer to increase profit. Obviously snow removal, Christmas lights right now, winter services, all 3 great avenues to increase profits for fall and winter. And then, obviously a price increase. which, to be honest, I mean, depending on your capacity, most of us are slowing down, but definitely looking at like maybe a price increase early next spring, if possible, if you're getting close to capacity, to increase profits. We actually are thinking about going to 90 an hour at our main location next year. I know Sam and I were kind of talking about this a little bit, but Larissa had came to me and was like, I want to get us another truck. I think I can handle 2 more employees. And Sam challenged me really well and was like, is that what you want to do? Is she going to be replaceable? Is the person that comes in behind her able to manage 6 trucks and 12 people? If the answer is no, you may not want to get that next truck, and it might be time to kind of raise prices and get profit. So I think that might be what we do, but I got to convince Larissa on that one. So those are kind of some quick tip strategies that we're kind of thinking through to increase profit. But did you have anything to add to that, or did you have any, or what do you have, Caleb? Like
you pretty much you said what I wanted to say. But the first thing was raising prices. Like just it's one of the simplest ways. You can just simply raise your prices. It's not, you don't have to do more work. You're probably gonna have less work now, and you're gonna have more profits at the end of the day. Also cutting labor, depending on the time of year, especially right now, cutting back on labor, it's gonna raise your profits simply.
great.
That's something that, huh?
I said great point, because I didn't do that the first year or two.
Yeah.
I tried to retain.
So cut back on labor as needed. Especially at this time of year too. There's no point in keeping people busy if they're not producing revenue.
Right.
That's very true.
Extremely true. Yeah, I remember the first like 2 years we would be like having them clean the shop and like cutting down random trees on our property, and it's like, it's eating all the profits, you know.
Yep.
So
I have another thing that I was just creating. I wish I would have created it before this call because it's going to be oversimplified right now. But if I can share my screen, I have another thing that can help unlock profit. Okay. So this is going to be extremely oversimplified because I haven't put like a whole lot of actual thought into what numbers are going to go where. But a lot of the times companies are not maximizing their assets, and the profit is hiding in the difference between what you're currently doing versus what your assets can do. And here's kind of a breakdown of this. So this red box, these are all of your fixed expenses and all of your expenses per month. So let's say that you're having currently, I'm going to make up numbers here, but like a 15% net profit. And where that 15% net profit is coming in is between where this red box ends and this black line starts. And so this is kind of where you're making all your profits, because you've covered all of your expenses between 0 budgeted hours and, for example, 350 budgeted hours with your assets. And you've gotten past this break-even point, and this is where you're starting to see your profits. But instead of pushing sales and marketing hard, you could be getting all of this profits. Now, here's the beautiful part. From this first line to this line, you're getting 15% profit, just in this example. But you have all these expenses that you have to cover throughout that journey. Now, since all of your fixed costs are covered, now you only have to worry about cost of goods sold after this black line. And so if your gross profit, and so if we're taking a look at our profit and loss statement, your gross profit is just your revenue minus your cost of goods sold. And so if you have like a 60% gross profit, this is all going to be, your gross profit is now your net profit right here. Yeah. And so you get to profit an additional, for example, 60% if you just max out your assets, versus all of this hard work you've done is only 15%. But now you can get a 60% net profit if you just max out your assets.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Dude, I see that so much too. Like at our main location, we're at like that 90% capacity where we're like almost maxing out all of our stuff. That's why we were talking about buying another truck. But then when you look at our Salina location, the one that's like brand new, that like is not there, it's rough. You know what I mean? But we learned a lot in our first year of like the numbers that we're supposed to hit, because of, like, that line, we're definitely in the red, you know. Unfortunately, but it'll probably be another at least 12 months until we can get into the green, which is where most of the profit is. So anybody that's in there, don't get discouraged. Like, it's okay. I mean, hopefully you're, not have a ton of expenses and like a shop and all that stuff. And hopefully you're just maybe doing it out of your house to start. But, you just want to get in that green for sure, because that's where all the money is,
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.